This is our biggest show of the year. It's our annual show. We have a big party, but with the pandemic, we can't have a party. So we're going to try to replicate that and bring you to the gallery virtually where everybody's safe. So just so you know, we have many ways to keep you safe. You can come to the gallery. We limit it to 8 to 10 people at a time. You can order online if there's something that you'd like to purchase, or we have curbside pickup. So there's many ways to be in contact with us that all are safe. You must wear a mask when you come here. If you want, we have gloves. Our staff knows all the protocol for cleansing, so it's most important to us that we keep safe. So the name of this show is The Art of Respite. And the name came to me because everybody shuttered. We need somewhere to find peace. It's been a difficult time for us, for you, professionally, personally, and my art really has been my savior. It's a joy for me when I paint. It's my happy time. I paint my happy places, and I'm so glad to share them with you. When I decide what to put into a show, this is how it starts. I look at my photo references that I've taken that are piled up next to my painting table. I just want to show you a picture. So these are, if you can see that, these are some of the photos that I want to paint. So that's how I start the show, is I go through my photos and I see what really captivates me. And I pull those photos out, and those are going to be part of the show. And also, I just want to share with you, you know, art begets art. So other artists inspire me. Hopefully I inspire other artists. But this show started out with painting another one of my spirit animals. And my initial inspiration for spirit animals was John Nieto. And this is one of John Nieto's wolves. Okay? And he is a world famous painter. Unfortunately, while we were representing him, he passed away. And I had all his work in my studio, and it really influenced me. And I decided I wanted to paint my own spirit animal, so I started out with my coyote, and I've now painted 33 spirit animals, and my latest one is called Coyote Moon, and you can see it up here, and that is part of the show. There are several other spirit animals in the show as well. I have a friend, an artist who's become a friend, and he's become a gallery guest artist. His name is Bruce Marion, and he paints on Zoom every Thursday, and he allows me to come in and watch him painting. And he has inspired me to do more things with my palette knife. So I'm going to show you what that looks like. So Bruce paints a lot with a palette knife. This is what a palette knife looks like. It's got a very thin, sharp edge. You scrape some paint off the palette and you put it onto the canvas with scraping. And then he also has me using it's just a scraper, like something you'd scrape your windshield with if you lived in a snowy climate. And you load paint on here, and you're scraping and you're scraping, and you get some really abstract, fun, spontaneous effects with this. So one of the paintings I did with the scraper is called Flowerscape. So this is interesting in that the table or the surface is extremely dark against the very white background. And then the flowers in the pot are such bright, bold colors against the white. So this white is just canvas. There's no paint on this. And the brightness of the canvas, I felt like if I put white paint on it, it would actually dull it. So I wanted the brightest white I could get. So I left the canvas blank of paint. And I took the scraper, you can see this, Kylie, and scraped in these shapes with paint and with the palette knife, like that. Very loose, very free, very spontaneous. This was so much fun. This is called Tiny Dancer 1, and Bruce and I painted this together again, and he was doing just a very abstract shape of a person. He called it persona non gratis. And I preferred to do more of a figure that I can recognize what the figure's doing, some shape and some motion. And I thought of Degas and his beautiful ballet dancers. And so that's where this one came from. And I just love the expression of this and the feeling of it and the looseness of it. And one of the hardest things for artists, and they'll all tell you, is to loosen up. So to use the palette knife and the scraper really helps me do that. Another painting I did with the palette knife is this view of Nantucket. And the colors in the sun really make this painting sing. And I try not to decide ahead of time what colors I'm going to use, and that's for me the creative journey. So we're going to go over here and look at a little bit different style. And this one is called Dry Riverbed. And that's, I mean, is that perfect for this year or what? There is no water in any wash in Tucson. And I just used a compilation of my desert photos and kind of put this one together. And if you were here, you could really see the texture. There's a lot of texture in these mountains, and a lot of this was done with palette knife as well as brushwork. So I like to use a combination often of palette knife and brushwork to get the effect. But this is this just came out to be a beautiful desert scene. So if you can't see all these paintings very well tonight, you can go online and we have a 2020 show preview. You can look at them more closely. But the nice thing about tonight is you can actually see the frame with the painting. So as I'm doing a show, I like to go away and just sequester for 10 days. And a lot of times I go to White Stallion Ranch, and sometimes now I'm going to the new ranch that these people own, the same owners as White Stallion, the True family. They own a ranch in Sassabee, Arizona called Rancho de la Osa, Ranch of the Female Bear. It's a magical place. It's right on the border. The terrain is beautiful for riding. The main house where you dine and the office is located is from the 1800s. And you can, the walls are so thick, you can feel the families walking around there that used to live there, and they're buried in a grave just up the hill. I mean, it's authentic Old West. So these are some of the paintings that came from Rancho de la Osa. So this one is the main house. So this is that house where the dining room is, and the table in there is a 20-foot long table, one piece of wood from Mount Lemmon. And this is where you dine, and the office is also located in here. And it's just a magnificent building. This is a horse that was inspired actually at one of the ranches. This is, they're famous for their pink Adirondack chairs and their colorful walls. They're adobe, but then there's stucco on top of them. So down here, these two pink chairs are outside of room number 12, which is exactly the name of the painting. And then up here is a gate from Rancho de la Osa. I mean, there's 25 paintings there that I haven't done yet. it's just a magnificent place for me to be inspired and paint. So these paintings, they're on a board. So the board has this, it's like a box. It has this thickness to it, and it's unique because on this surface I can paint watercolor and acrylic. And usually at watercolor you have to put it behind glass because it's paper and the paper's delicate. But with this surface that they've developed, and it almost feels like a clay surface, you can paint watercolor on it, and you put a coating on it to protect it, and you don't need glass. So it's got a lot of versatility. So I did these two paintings, and I painted this in watercolor initially, and I wasn't happy with the vibrancy of it. So I came back with my palette knife, and I laid in this background, and I added some color to the roses, and just really beefed it up a little bit, and it turned into a beautiful painting. I did the same thing on this one. We're going to turn here and look at Joyful Flowers. Same concept, it's on that board. I started out with a watercolor painting, and I came over it with the palette knife with acrylic, so that made it really fun. Usually we have people that come in and view the show, online or in person, and then they put in a commitment on the painting that they want to purchase. And because we want to be fair to everyone, we wait until, actually we're waiting until Friday at 4 o'clock, and then we look at all the commitments. If there's more than one commitment on one painting, we do it the democratic way. We pull the name out of a hat, and that person gets to buy the painting. So if you are interested in a painting, give us a call or come in and make a commitment, and you'll get it in this really exciting kind of a draw on Friday night.
Lauren would like to know, how do you decide which surface to use for a painting?
That's a great question, Lauren. It's intuitive. So I looked at this, let's look at this one painting over here of the falcon. I looked at this painting of the falcon, I looked at this image of the falcon, and this was a rescue from Tucson Wildlife Center. And I thought, I love the pattern on the wings and on the body, and it would be great to replicate it with some pattern outside of this bird, and the best way to do that would be acrylic. So, pastel, sorry. So it's really intuitive. I look at the image and I just get a feeling that the best way to paint this would be, I do watercolor, I do acrylic, I do pastel. So I have 3 choices for every image. And that reminds me, I want to tell you, the gallery always has a philanthropic bent. So I did paint 2 paintings to help charities this time around. Everybody's suffering because they can't have their big events. And I know there's a lot of online auctions, but it's just not quite the same. So I've done 2 paintings as part of this show, and half the proceeds from these paintings will go to these organizations. So I'm going to show them to you right now. So this painting is called My Forever Home, and it's an adorable little kitty and puppy under the Christmas tree, and they're looking for a forever home, and that will benefit the Humane Society of Southern Arizona. So half the proceeds from this painting will go to them. And of course, we love the elephants at the zoo, and Nandi has a new little sister whose name is Mapenzi, and Mapenzi will also, half the proceeds from her painting will benefit the zoo as well. So if any of these paintings touch your heart, you know that it's also going to go to a good cause. So I enjoyed this, and it's as close as I can get to you right now. We can't have our big groups in, but we certainly can have you in small groups at a time. We promise we'll keep you safe, and thank you so much for all your love and support. You make painting for me everything. So have a great night, stay safe, and hope to see you soon.